What's up, Facebook Live? What's up, world? So I'm earlier in the week this week, but later in the day. So hopefully I can catch a few people to jump on because I feel like this is so important. I've had a really crazy week, so I'm gonna wait and see who pops on, and then I'm gonna go ahead with my message, which I feel like is so important. I even felt a little bit hyper today, which I haven't felt since like 15 videos ago, so I know it's an important message for a lot of people. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes. What's up, Steve? How are you? Let me know how you are in the comments. Hey, Brian. I should really thank you for this because these downloads are so big. How's it going, Steve? How's your week? You've been all over? You're always doing Facebook Live. This is like old hat to you. So my message today is about digging deep and figuring out, which more than likely it is, if past pain is currently directing your experience. Last week I talked a lot about getting triggered and consciously connecting, and it's been a few weeks since then, and what I really wanted to talk about, hi Brian, what I really wanted to talk about was how it's been a rough couple of days. I experienced a succession of events over the past few weeks where I spoke to someone and something came up for me, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. And then I spoke to someone else and then something else happened, and it was slowly sort of like showing me what I needed to see, but it was such a big thing that it took a couple of weeks for me to actually realize what was going on. And what has been going on was I spent the past 2 days basically really sad and crying and purging. And for me, that's something that I embrace. I like to drown because it means that I'm going to be reborn, and it makes me feel powerful because I do embrace it instead of shutting it out and running from it. And so I was laying in bed the other night and I was crying, and I'm like, okay, I'm really upset and I'm crying and I'm crying. And the really bad part about crying at night is that you can't scream in a pillow because everyone's sleeping. So you're just crying there and you're miserable, and you know that I know you know, Steve, and you know that the universe is like, okay, look. And I'm like, look at what? Like, I don't see anything. Everyone else in the world is sleeping. It's 3 a.m. I'm crying. I've got music blasting. I've got tissues, and you get to the point where you're like so sad that you're not even like wiping anymore. You're literally just laying the tissue over, and it's just laying there, and you're like miserable. And, finally you start to kind of realize, okay, what's going on? And so I felt like I was getting triggered, and I've had some conversations, and then, I spent 2 days out of balance, and then, basically I was talking to a friend last week when I was in a bar, and we just started talking about his family and how he was really struggling and how he wasn't really in his power. And to me, whenever we're helping people, it seems so obvious when you're helping other people, but it's so hard to see your own truth, and you really have to get silent. And so when we were chit-chatting, I was just asking questions, basic questions about why he felt like he couldn't do this, or did he feel like he was in control, or how was he feeling? And he had this massive like aha moment, and it all started to unravel. And I thought, well, of course, when we look at our family and we look at our experiences, they're going to direct where we are now. That's just really obvious. But then it got, better and better and better from there. And someone asked me a question this week because I had a conversation about the type of people that I was attracting into my life. And they asked me, what did that mean about me? And I got really pissed off for a second. I was like, what do you mean does that mean about me? Right? Because like, why would it be me? Like, isn't it these other people? And so I'm awake and aware enough to know that we direct our experience. So what is it about me? And so the fact that I got triggered, I was like, yay, okay, we're onto something, like the breadcrumbs, because when you start to get upset, you know that that's something that you need to look a little bit closer into. So I sat with it for a couple of days and just really started thinking about it. And it led me to think about childhood trauma and how our childhoods are. And so a lot of trauma that we have when we're, children affects our self-esteem. And it makes us question, who we can trust. Can we trust ourselves? Do we have healthy sexuality? Do we, how do we feel in our interactions with people? And, add to the fact of being an empath or being psychic and not having healthy boundaries and having a hard time speaking your truth. What's up, Tiff? And things start to get a little bit complicated, and we need to really start examining, our past pain, because it's most likely affecting our experience right now. And so I knew that when I was getting on this call today and this Facebook Live that I was really like wound up and hyper, and I was like, okay, I know this is an important message because I haven't felt really hyper and sort of worried about doing Facebook Live for maybe like 15 videos ago. So I knew that this was really important. So I had to write some notes down because, you know, I think that a lot of people talk about narcissistic tendencies and narcissistic people, and I've noticed that sometimes as an empath, you know, you might draw those people in, and you know, you may have had an experience where you've been love bombed and shown a lot of attention. You may have had an experience where after that you've gotten the silent treatment, and then, you know, what people say ghosted, when people just pretend that you're now dead. You went from being something important to something that's now dead. And I want to say to you that if that you've ever experienced that, and I've been in relationships where I have been with a narcissist, and I have been to the point where I was very drained and very physically ill for 2 years after that because I gave and gave, and there was a lot of darkness to clear within myself and in this interaction. And so if you've ever been love bombed and then ignored, gotten the silent treatment and ghosted, I want to tell you that that is the most emotional and psychological abuse you will ever be subjected to. It is the most challenging, hurtful thing that you will ever go through. And if you have survived that, then cheers, because it's not something that's easy to clear and sort of process. And you know, I think that really it's interesting because sometimes when we have past pain and abuse, we're attracted to people that feel familiar energetically, and that's not necessarily a good thing if you haven't healed that past pain. You know, if you've had abusive interactions, you know, through intimacy or, you know, physically, we tend to attract those same things over and over again until we heal. And, you know, I think it's really hard because when we look at that, we can start to realize that, you know, maybe we aren't congruent. You're welcome, Kobe. Awesome. Realize that we're not congruent in what we're doing and what we're saying. And what's interesting is that we think that we're saying one thing and we want one thing, and we're so determined, and we're like, oh my God, I'm so determined, right? I want this one thing and I know that this is my truth. And I have to tell you though, your energy signature and the energetic vibration that you're giving off is saying something totally different, right? And that's really something that's really important, because we think we're saying one thing, we think our actions are congruent, but our energy is saying something else. And if we're a little bit broken and we have things that we still need to heal and work on, then we have blind spots. And we don't have the type of boundaries that someone who has healthy self-esteem or, you know, healthy intimacy or, you know, healthy sexuality has. And so we're giving, hi Lydia, I'm so glad you caught me too. And so we're giving off an energetic vibration that's saying something different, that's leaving, you know, a gap for people to come in and to potentially emotionally abuse us and hurt us. And I'm not blaming this on other people. I think this is all great stuff because, you know, every time we do this and we realize that this is happening to us, it's a chance for us to heal. It's the universe showing us that we're going to keep experiencing this until we heal this, or at least until we shine awareness and a light on what's happening, you know, within us. So the confusing part about this is, you know, we get into relationships or interactions and we think, yeah, I want this, I'm doing a good job, but our energetic vibration is saying something totally different. And so we keep thinking we're being open, but we're not really being open because we haven't healed the past pain. So we're doing it and we're like, yeah, I'm doing really well, I'm open. And then you're getting hurt and then you're going, nope, no, I'm still getting hurt. Why is this happening to me? And so then you get in this spot where you're like, you're standing at a crossroads, right? You're really angry and pissed off and you're hurt and you feel like you want to shut down and you want to just check out. You want to be like, no, I'm not ever doing this again because I keep getting hurt. And then the part of you is like, no, I'm just going to stay open. But really you're not open because your perception thinks you're open, but you're energetically you're closed, right? So that's what you're giving off. And so until we heal that and we change our energetic vibration, we keep having the same, you know, interactions. And they say that the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So, you know, if you're getting into a situation and you're having a really bad experience and you're having a bad experience, it's like, and then you're closing down and you're just trying to go away and be away from people, it's like, okay, that you're doing the same thing over and over again. So try being open, try just being honest about what you feel and what's happened to you, and see if that person has compassion. I know, Kobe, it's a really challenging thing, and see if that person has compassion, and if you can connect within, have compassion for yourself, and try to work through healing that, because you're going to get the same thing over and over again until you change your energetic vibration. And the only way to change that is to be aware of your past and how it's directing your experience, your current experience. So we get in the victim mindset, and this is the other thing that I was like, wow, this is so powerful. We get in this victim mindset, and we've all been there, right? We're like, why does this keep happening to me? Like, I just don't understand these people, right? It's like, it's them, it's not us. So why is this happening? Like, I don't get it. And you're just so like pissed off, and you want to push, the blame out and not look within. And so you're like, why is this happening to me? And I want to say that, take a power pause, because nothing just happens to us ever. Say that every day to yourself. Nothing just happens to us ever. Everything that happens is a result of the words that we speak, the energetic vibration that we put out in the world. It's, part of the actions that we take. Nothing just happens to us. So when people say, I don't know, this always just happens to me, like, what the hell? It's like, no, nothing just happens. Take your power back. We're in control of our holographic reality to a certain extent, and we're at least in control of how powerful we are and what we want to be aware of, and where we push our energy and where we pull back our energy. So that's one of the things that I was like, wow, nothing just happens. We can't put this blame on external people. We really have to look at, what's going on with us? Like, are we still having self-esteem issues? It's funny because, we have, childhood memories that we all get traumatized, and what we do with that and how that manifests in the future is really up to us to some degree when we start really thinking about it. So, some people turn to drugs, some people are depressed and suicidal, and there's nothing wrong with us. We just need to be able to look at and have awareness about what's happened in the past. Some things are new pains, but a lot of it is past pain. Like, when I start feeling that, wow, that massive tidal wave of what's happening to me, I know that I even start getting in an old mindset. I'm like, oh my God, I've lost my appetite. Like, I'm just so pissed off. I feel like I'm shutting down. And it's not the me that I am now. We start to think, well, this is me and this is how I've always been. And who would we be if we were free? I want to ask that question to myself and people that I meet all the time. Who would you be if you could just unload some of this stuff and just talk to somebody about it and release it and really be free and airy and light? I'm not saying that it's always going to be that way, but doing the work, really helps. So we have to really get out of that victim mindset of something just happens to me, because nothing just happens to us. We really have to think about, how things are happening and how things are transpiring. And I had to make some notes here, because there were so many downloads that I had, in relation to this. And I think it's important to really ask, emotionally and physically, intimacy, the first times we were let somebody know how we felt emotionally, what was that experience like? Did someone make fun of us? Did someone, re-traumatize us again? Or, was it positive or was it negative? How was our first, physical intimacy? How did that go down? Was it abuse? Mine was abuse as a child. So that's going to drive my entire experience of, not wanting to be seen for the longest time until I healed that. That was really hard for me. And it still comes up, I know, for a lot of people, and it's a very real biological response to something that happened, and it's a hard thing to heal. But if we can be aware and honest about that, we can understand how to transcend that. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of people. I mean, you look at the current climate, and when we're in pain and when we're hurt and we're angry and we don't process it and move it out of our body, we tend to just want to unleash that onto people. It's funny, when I was a child, even when I was broken and suicidal, I wanted to still give love. That was something that was really special to me. I always felt like I wanted to help people and be kind, because I knew what it felt like to hurt. And I think a lot of empaths feel like that. And then there are other people who, they just really have a hard time processing what's going on, and so they want to go out in the world, they want to hurt people, because hurt people, right? And so we realize that, and we need to kind of really take a look at that. And we can't do the work for other people. We can only do the work for ourselves, and we can only speak our truth like I am in this video, and hope that it's going to inspire and empower other people to figure out what their truths are, figure out what's triggering you, and do something about it, and talk to somebody about it, and really start being aware, of what's happening. And I think we really need to address that, if we don't want to continue to hurt others and go out in the world and, be a disaster with our emotions. And so, One of the other things that I wanted to talk about before I end, and this was sort of a lot of rambling and a lot of stuff, but I think I made some really good valid points about, past pain and how it directs our experience and really thinking about it, is that, when we don't have healthy self-esteem or healthy, values or healthy boundaries or healthy sacred sexuality, it leaves us open to being manipulated in relationships. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because when we feel like we've been manipulated, we can realize like what went wrong here, like what can we do next time to better serve and to be more positive and to have a conscious connection. And I think that anytime we feel less than when we're consciously connecting with someone, we might be in a spot where we're being manipulated. And that's a good thing, again, because we're going to learn a lesson. We're always going to learn lessons. It's like warrior training. It's like, yeah, I'm a badass. Like I got, pushed down in the dirt. I got kicked in the back and I really got broken from this. But what did I learn? Because it's only a waste if you didn't learn something, or you can't actually be aware and be like, yeah, I fucking learned all this badass stuff. And now when I connect with someone, I'm going to be more honest. I'm going to be more open and I'm going to be more loving. And I may get rejected, but rejection's awesome. I always say that rejection is so awesome. I'm always like, yes, I got rejected, because it leaves us open to knowing that, did we want that at all? Was that even aligned with us? Or maybe it's not aligned right now. And I think I still stand by rejection being awesome, because it's good for us to get kicked in the dirt. It lets us know that we're putting ourselves out there, that we're taking chances, that if we totally died tomorrow, we knew that we took a chance. We ate the chocolate cake, we drank the wine, we told somebody we really liked them, and maybe we got kicked or they ran away from us or whatever, but I'm a badass, right? And you're a badass too. So take those chances and definitely put yourself out there. But think about, how your past pain and childhood is directing your experience. For me, I didn't do drugs. I was just miserable and suicidal, and my drug of choice was external validation and self-improvement, and always doing, being busy so I didn't have to be in the game, so that I could pretend that, maybe I didn't want to get in that relationship because I'm just too busy to do what I'm doing. And I really try to put myself out there now, but it's definitely not easy, because you keep getting hurt, and you're at that crossroads where you're like, I'm really, feeling like I'm broken, but I want to shut down, but I want to be open and just be love, so it's like, choose love and transcend that with love, and just try to do what you can do. It's like, we get into that thing where we start doing, and we live in such a masculine world, and we're doing all the time because we don't trust ourselves. What about just being in your goddess energy and just being and setting the intention that, love is going to flow through you and the right people you're going to meet in your life. Stop trying to make things happen with people that don't want to make it happen with you, and stop trying to, be better or do or chase after things that are not aligned with you. All of that is just fear from past pain. Sit back and just smile and trust and try to work through why you feel a certain way, or why you feel like you need to do something or say something that is just totally not aligned. So I want to leave you guys with, think about who you'd really be if you could be free, because I feel like that's what came up for me. What is spirit showing you in your interactions with people? What is spirit asking you to see? What can you shift so that you can consciously connect more in love? What can you do to be the person that you truly are? We tend to think that we are one way, or, whatever's going on with us, parts of us that we think are really us, and they're not really us. So I challenge you to go and drown in that sadness until it's gone, until you clear all of it through, you swim through all of it and feel like, I cleared this. That was never me. That was just a defense mechanism. I'm actually love, because we all are love at our core, and we all want connection. And the only way to consciously connect is to dive deep and drown, so you can be reborn to the person that you always were going to be and the person that you are becoming. We have to let go of who we think we are and all these little things that we think we need to do to protect ourselves, because we really don't need to. We're spiritual badasses. We are in warrior training, and we just need to figure out who we truly are and to be love and to put ourselves out there. So who would you be if you were free? That is my challenging question to you and to myself as I continue to, that adventure continues to unfold as I go down the rabbit hole deeper and deeper, because it's so deep, right? We think that we're at this level and we're like, yeah, I'm doing so good, man. And then you start something starts drifting in, you're like, oh fuck, what's that? And then you're like, you have to do more work, and it's just so awful. But I challenge you to walk slowly through it and to enjoy that work and to enjoy the questions of who you are. Who would you be if you were free? You know, there's a Buddhist quote that says, you know, fly with the wind, but don't fly adrift. And that really spoke to me this week. It's like, I want to be free and I want to fly with the wind, but I don't want to be led adrift. I want to realize who I am and what my truths are and speak those truths in love and respect for other people, you know, and show people my heart, because I think that when we show who we are, we give people the courage to show who they are. And I feel like that's empowering. You know, every decision that we make is either going to empower us or disempower us. So make those good decisions. Make the decisions that in your heart, when your heart starts racing, like before I did this video was such a fuck yes. I'm like, I'm gonna get up there and tell my truth, and I'm gonna help all these people, and I'm gonna be inspired by your comments, and you're gonna help me. And there's like this transference that happens of love, you know, and this magical madness that we're living, this movement. So I challenge you to think about, who would you be if you were free? And I'm gonna leave you with, in love we know, in love we flow, and in love we grow. It's extra special today. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. And I'm so looking forward to this weekend, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. If you have questions or comments or want me to do a topic, message me. I love you guys.